Okay, so back here with Maxine, and the last time I attempted to try and just get the rear motor mount bolt out just to see if I could break it loose before even having the damn part. This part was like $30 at AutoZone with a warranty. Now, I could not break that bolt loose, and I thought that that bolt, it goes on the outside. It doesn't go on that. It goes on the outside of the bracket that kind of like pulls that together. I thought that bolt has like a long bolt, right? And then I thought it has like a little fastener, which you would have to hold one side with a socket and the other side with a wrench, and then do it like the front. But I read the forums, dude, and it said that on the rear, because of the configuration of it in the white pipe, it has its own welded nut, a welded fastener, and all you have to do is bolt out the long bolt and bolt it back in once you get this new one on the cross member. So for the cross member, I got my 22, dude. I got my 17 for the fronts, deep socket, short socket. Got a 19 just in case. Got a 19 short socket. Got a 19-17 wrench. I got extensions out the ass today. I just bought this long one, John, here. So you already know. You know, once you get long extensions, they kind of like, think of a drive shaft, a solid drive shaft versus a drive shaft with like different joints connecting it. There's less flex. There's more torque applied. You know what I'm saying? So that's why a lot of people, they get these long, robust breaker bars that cost like $40 and $50 for one, and they get these long, robust extensions instead of buying them in a set, because they already got little small ones to get to something. They need the long ones to kind of like put the torque down. So now, just this alone, if this one is 20, look at that one. Dang. So that must be like plus this one. All this must add up to like 20, 24, and I still got more in the shed. You know what I mean? It can't stop the hustle. Got my torque wrench. Got this because the 30 and the 32 for the rear wheel bearing hub nut, axle nut is like 30 or 32. Everybody can't decide. Then they say it's a 36, just like the front. So we're gonna find that out when the wheel bearing comes. You know, just some miscellaneous stuff. I don't need the transfer. I'm just using it right now to hold stuff up. But if this is 20 inches, right? Now, let me come on here like that. Realistically. Now, realistically, right? You're gonna be up under this wheel fender on the inside, in that space, trying to work, and this extension at least come over to there. So now, if you were to add this sucker right here, boy. I mean, they said it was a half-inch drive. So, hold on. Hold on. Alright. Voila. Look at that. They go all the way, dude, past the throttle body. You gotta understand. The upper part of the motor with intake manifolds make the engine seem longer, wider, larger than what it really is. Look at the valve cover gasket. It's gonna line up with your heads and everything else, the block and everything else. So basically, the motor mount should have been like, no lie, like it's gonna be like right here, right? Because it's gonna be aside the engine, leaving space for the engine and the transmission to mount up. So it's not gonna be right here. The motor mount's somewhere back there, damn near close to the passenger side. So why the hell they have the bolt facing this side? Because the exhaust. So think of it as being like somewhere back here, which is, I mean, somewhere in the middle of the car. Well, I mean, look at the windshield wipers. Oh yeah, we in it to win it, dude. That's it. That's it. She gotta stop fighting. She gotta come out now. I don't give a damn. I still got extensions, bro. I still I could still bring it out all the way out there and then crack that shit loose. And that's what I'm gonna do. Cause she embarrassed me last time, man. She embarrassed me. I was on the floor, it was dark. The raccoons were getting ready to come out. In New York City, we don't do that. We don't be working out here till the raccoons come over here and bite your leg or some shit. Nah, man, wrap that shit up and go in the house. So, I know. And other places in New York, they're very friendly. People can feed them without getting bit. This is NYC, this is a different breed. We got street raccoons, hood raccoons. But anyways, I digress. I'm gonna put on everything I can and put it to work. I'm gonna tape the socket to the extension so the socket don't come off when I have to pull it off and realign it or something. Cause I don't want that happening. Let's get, now if you can see right through the driver's side, you are the driver. Now, yes, I just did my axle. But now, if you can see through here, I mean, you'll see with better lighting when, you know, it's not the camera phone, but look on top of this transmission ear, like casing, and you can see clearly there's a bolt right there. What bolt? Now you have to get the sockets and the extension to go above this casing air. Then you have to hold it at a specific angle. And God, this phone is gonna, you know. Look how far up I am from this brake rotor. I'm basically laying on top of this transmission ear casing, right? This is the tranny, not the engine. This is not the bell housing. This is the transmission casing, not the bell housing itself. The back part, the rear part of the ear. So basically, the back part of this thing is going to be sticking up at an angle. It's going to be at an angle. So the further you get away from your tie rod, yeah, all of that is hanging down, but it's going to be at an angle. To get to this bolt, and you got to hold it on there and try to crack it free. So now I'm going to try to do that. Here we got these. Cover your mouth, cover your nose and your eyes. So if you can see down there, I got the impact on one side, 17. I got the box wrench on the other side, 17. Now, as you can see, she moves. So now what you want to do is support the trans case, not the transmission pan, the case with a block of wood. Don't just use the jack stand because you can puncture that trans case. And you can use your impact or you can use your ratchet and just loosen those cross member bolts so that way you could take stress off of the main engine mount bolt in the middle, and that way you can pull it out. Okay, so safety first. Got my scissor under the AC compressor bracket to block, I guess, or oil pan, upper oil pan. I don't want to risk damaging my oil pan, and I don't want to risk damaging the casing to my transmission. So I got my jack stand adjusted on a part of the transmission lower bell housing that should be like firm, more firm than the actual casing underneath. And I still got enough room to drop this thing and drag its ass out the way. So the rear bolt is out the middle. As you can see up here, this is still. So now I gotta pull this one up here out and separate it, right? Once again, there's tension on these bolts, so you're gonna have to either jack it up with the service jack, the whole damn thing up, since right now all the tension should be on these cross member bolts, but sometimes to get certain bolts out you gotta just slightly jack it up and then you can free yourself somehow. You gotta shake it, shake, rattle, and roll this thing. There we go. Come on. Give up the ghost, baby girl. Come on. Work for daddy. Come on. She don't want to listen for nothing, bro. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. There we go. Now you are free to take out the last 4 bolts and drop it. Remember, separate front from rear. Use some anti-rust, rust corrosion, and clean it up with wire wheels. So start separating everything. The rears. See how? The rear is only a bolt. The front is the bolt and the fastener. Which, yeah, last 2, and the service jack is under it already. Clear, clear. The front, the rear. The front is shorter than the rears. That's why you say separate them. The rears go through the firewall, hence it got longer travel, longer threads. The fronts go only through the radiator support, right? So they have a shorter travel. All right, she's shaking. Ooh. Ooh, she rocking back and forth up in there now. See what I'm saying? She rocking, baby, rocking. Hold me like a rock. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, if your car like mine, and you got a wiring harness to your front engine mount, please disconnect she for your brakes and my youth. See, where is that? Okay, the connector is all the way up there. Cause I bought a Gilele. Oh, sorry. Sorry, folks. I bought a Gilele fluid-filled electronical mount. Oh, got it. Done 3 prom. Come on. She's still fighting to the last piece of whatever. Alright, drop it and drag it. No need for this. No need for that. Just drop it and drag it out. 25 pounds. Oh, that was rude. That was my elbow, you sucker. Alright. This motor mount usually comes with some kind of cover. Like, I don't know why. Maybe foreign contaminants. But there you go. Yeehaw. I'm gonna spray these down. I'm gonna clean up all the damn treads, and then supposedly the front mount is fatter, and it's wider at the base of the cross member. That's why it's different than this one. This one is more, it has a little shape to it, like a little L, and it's slimmer, and it's slimmer this way. That is your rear. All right. So now, I mean, rear slimmer. As you come to the front wider, like crocodile nose. The rear one sits higher to you than the fronts, and then the front has that little chin guard down there, which is, you know, a lot of times we use that as a jacking point, and you could tell. It's been over some craters and bumps, and the rear has this high-pitched arch because, remember, it's near the firewall. All right, so these fasteners are now off, all right? I tell you, man, these spare bolts be looking similar to other things, all right? All right, cool. So this is the L shape, the way it sits on your cross member, kind of like that. See? All right. Whoop, whoop, whoop. You got too much chip on your dip. Thank you, Country Lane. You're the freaking man, boy. I guess they have some little set-in bushings here, spacers. Whatever, that's nice, that's cute. Oh, yeah. And these are gonna be shorter, way shorter than these motor mount bolts, right? Than the upper motor mount bolts, right? But at least you see. Time to put the new one on, boy. So sometimes you gotta like, because these mounts come like this, like a closed mount, you just gotta kind of like angle it with the first hole in the back, kind of like walk it on. You'll see it pass the hole many times, like trying to put a rim on and skipping the lugs. You have to hammer on it and knock it this way, and then you just gotta shake the mount while putting the screw in and shake it. Once you get one side, you could use the fastener, just not tightly, but just to hold in. This one you gotta like rock it around while laying it down and rock it. Eventually it'll go in. After installing the new mount, go ahead and tighten those fasteners all the way, torque them, because when you put this thing back in, you don't have time to sit here and squeeze your hand by the Y pipe and the pre-catch trying to fit a wrench back there in case the bolt starts spinning. Two turtle doves and my finger all in her booty hole while she's sucking. That's what you want for Christmas, you better get her money. She ain't doing it for free. Only for a guy like me. My name's not Jody. Bastards. Ah, God have mercy. Alright, cool. Alright, get one started. And then just let it hang, kinda. Okay. One is up, one is in. So as you can see, I got it hanging by one crossmember bolt, no engine. I mean, yeah, motor mount bolt yet. Right? Now, if you had to do both motor mounts, what they want you to do is leave these kind of loose, or maybe leave those loose, so that way you can have it in the car, you set it up there, and then you kind of adjust it little by little. See, I only got one bolt there. I mean, what is that? That's a steering rack, right? Axle. So yeah, we're looking good. We're looking good. So now I could focus on getting those middle bolts through, and then after that, put the cross member back in. Testimonial time. I had to unloosen these two ones at the bottom here. Box and wrench on one side, 17 and 17 head. So that way I could kind of lift this whole assembly with my shoulder, or if you grab down here you can squeeze it up and try to wiggle this motor mount bolt back in. So I guess it's true what they say, leave that kind of loose, because even if you change one mount, it kind of changes the trajectory a little bit. Your motor mount bolts, that main bolts that go through the middle, and then tighten the cross member bolts, and then so I still needed the extensions. I still needed the deep socket and shallow socket 17. Now I just tightened up the motor mount by hand and breaker bar. Got my torque wrench there, right? So the reason why it's a pita is not even because of the front. Now after I got my motor mount and the socket in the back on, right, I couldn't even move it again to take it back off, and I didn't want to strip the head. The only thing I did was unloosen these two, so that way I can flex the rest of the arm for to accommodate the rear. So those two bolts in the front are still loose, as well as, so those two are still loose. Those two are at their lowest point before coming out. Right. Those two on the bottom of this one, because it has fasteners on the other side, are tight, because there's no way to access it from the other side with a Y pipe in the way. Tighten them shits. You don't have to take this thing back out. Those two are down here somewhere chilling. I got jack stand underneath the front at its lowest point. I got scissor jack kind of like at its lowest point, because right now the only thing that's supporting this motor mount is the trams. It was actually the actual mounts. Now I tried to jack up this thing, lower it, tighten up the bolts, untighten it while pushing in this middle bolt by hand. And I'm like, how can I tell if the thing is even getting tight or just spinning off of the threads and it's rounding it out? Well, it's kind of sketchy, but jack this, make sure your vehicle is properly supported from multiple angles. I removed the jack stands that was holding up the transmission casing because I felt confident enough that everything else was gonna hold as one. So I got 2 jack stands under the cross member. If anything, that's a fail-safe. And we got the service jack here, just in case, you know, just trying to get this thing wiggled up there. Turns out I had too much tension on it. I had to let everything back here come almost all the way off the car, all the way down. No bolts. And that's the only way I was able to slide this thing in, wiggle it, push it all the way in, and then come outside with the extensions, going all the way to the bolt, and by hand, not by impact, by hand, you can feel when there's proper like tension, like it's catching, and you can tighten it. Now, after that, throw in your 2 back bolts, go to the front, tighten up those, and then don't forget those that actually hold the motor mount to the cross member. Oh God, finally. It's been a long time coming. I gotta go to work.